Hello, and welcome to On the Hill,
a UNC student television production.
I'm Maya Guterbach.
And I'm Jared Warner.
Here to bring you news on the Hill. A 50-year-old Connecticut woman was arrested with a DUI after being found asleep at the wheel. Normally I wouldn't bring up a random woman's DUI, but this woman was drunk on vanilla extract. No, seriously, police found several bottles of the extract in her vehicle, as well as could smell vanilla on her breath. There's nothing really else to say about this story. It's pretty vanilla if you ask me.
A few weeks ago, Punxsutawney Phil predicted an early spring, and I'll be honest, my first reaction was that the spelling of Punxsutawney makes about as much sense as having a groundhog tell us about weather in 2019. That's Punxsutawney with an X, not Punxsutawney with a K as I originally thought. You know, as in Punxsutawney Phil, seen here, pictured in his rebellious grunge days. When he sees his shadow, he stomps back into his room and blasts Nirvana, loud enough to drown out the sound of his parents fighting.
After successfully predicting an early spring, Phil got a bit overconfident and started predicting other things, including the 2024 presidential election. He's president.
Cloudy with a chance of meatballs happens, and it is not fun, and it does not taste good.
In 2030, the U.S. decides to secede from California.
In 2050, Pete Davidson and Betty White finally call it quits.
In 2060, Brexit negotiations are still going on. Or, and hear me out on this one, we could leave meteorology to the trained professionals and not to a furry, off-brand Rudy Giuliani.
Surprising absolutely no one, the New England Patriots just won their 6th Super Bowl title since 2001. Still, congratulations are in order to the Patriots for winning Super Bowl 53 in what I can only describe as 60 minutes that technically met the basic qualifications for being a football game.
It was very boring.
Speaking of things everybody knew was inevitable, UNC Chancellor Carol Folt was forced out of her job at the end of January after a tumultuous end to her tenure. Still, as the first female president of UNC, Chancellor Folt was a role model to many, as well as the subject of much frustration from the student body. And now, On the Hill presents our final look at Carol Folt's tenure here at Carolina. Take a look.
Truly inspiring. And speaking of truly inspiring, a Nebraska woman named Molly Schuyler recently won a food eating competition for consuming 501 wings in under 30 minutes. That's a 16.7 WPM.
WPM, what?
Wings per minute.
Oh, okay. Well, that may be possibly the worst way to eat food. No, not eat. Consume, maybe inhale. Molly doesn't deserve to use the word eat for what she's doing.
Well, Molly routinely participates in all sorts of food eating competitions. Her secret? She doesn't actually chew her food, but instead swallows it whole. Oh. And now, a word from Molly's corporate sponsor. Molly Schuyler brought to you by TUms. TUms, for when chewing just slows you down.
TUMS. Because when you put 500 wings in your mouth, you're going to need some help.
TUMS. Honestly, eat these like candy just to be safe.
TUMS. There's really only so much we can actually do.
Tons of people are already campaigning to face President Trump in the 2020 election. It's an inspiring and frankly diverse group of candidates. And then there's former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz. Howard, what do you actually stand for? No, seriously, like name a single issue in which you have an affirmative position. Nobody wants you to run, okay? Nobody wants you to run. I'm sorry, just get a little frustrated sometimes. The point is, on the Hill, we are excited to announce that we will not be endorsing Howard Schultz for the 2020 election. At this point, we're open to considering literally any other candidate, at least until those med school blackface photos resurface.
A cyclist in Arizona collided with a deer while traveling at over 40 miles per hour. Fortunately, both the deer and the cyclist survived. Because imagine what those tombstones would have looked like. For the man, died in a top 3 state, if only alphabetically. And for the deer, Arby's. We have the meats.
Zac Efron stars as serial killer Ted Bundy in the new film Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. Zac Efron is a serial killer, more like Ted Bundle of sexy. Ted Bundy murdered over 30 women between 1974 and 1978, which leaves me thinking, why couldn't I have been alive then?
A company in Japan has pioneered 3D printing technology to create very, very lifelike masks. I'm not really sure why these are necessary, but hey, at least we now know what happened to Ted Bundy's victims.
A Pennsylvania police department is looking for volunteers to get drunk so that their officers may practice field sobriety tests. Unsurprisingly, thousands more than the 4 requested applied. On the Hill is excited to announce that we'll also be partnering with the Chapel Hill Police to help them practice as well. I mean, anything for the officers.
A university in Louisiana was forced to temporarily close one of its academic buildings after it became infested with thousands of bats. And that number dropped to 999 after Professor Evelyn finally retired.
Singer Kelsey Carter made international headlines for seemingly getting a tattoo of Harry Styles on her face. Later, she released a YouTube video saying it was fake and just a press stunt. Maybe she should release her frustration through mildly sexual fan fiction like the rest of us.
Wait, what?
And speaking of dreamy heartthrobs, an art thief in Russia recently stole a $185,000 painting from a crowded exhibition. I mean, this guy is the coolest. He walks in and just takes the painting off the wall with hundreds of people around and no one notices. I mean, I get flustered when the Walmart greeter is looking over my receipt. He's my hero.
A 23-year-old college student in France allegedly called in a fake bomb threat to divert the plane his parents were on when they were coming to visit him. But look, we've all been there before, you know? Parents can be tough on college students. Find a job, get an apartment, I want to visit you. In any case, if convicted, he'll have free room and board for years to come, and his parents can come visit him anytime.
Earlier we mentioned Carol Folt's untimely departure from the university. But now it's time to play Who Will Be the Next UNC Chancellor?
Will it be Gary the Pit Preacher?
A random guy in the pit trying to get you to sign a petition.
Joanne, the crossing guard.
Roy Williams. Oh, I'm so sorry, a different Roy Williams.
Silent Sam? Or Silent Sam with a fake mustache?
We don't actually know.
But whoever it is,
People will find something to complain about.
A Dutch man named Andre Kuiper recently accidentally called 911. Now, this isn't normally a newsworthy item, But Mr. Kuiper did it from aboard the International Space Station, or the ISS. Police are still trying to figure out how to respond to his emergency, but based on his situation, there's only one emergency that I can even imagine him being in. I mean, think about it. The ISS, that's only one letter away from...
Space ISIS?
Space ISIS. Godspeed, you heroes.
Well, that's all we have time for today.
Thanks for watching, and see you next time.
This has been
On the Hill.